I'm TarotOracle, and this is card intensity. It's basically just how cards are going to interact with each other and intensify each other, patterns that you see with some of the types of cards, etc. So let's go over card intensity in regard to spreads. So let's do some examples here. The biggest one that everyone is going to point out is going to be all majors. Look, it's all majors. That's intensity. That's when you have cards working together, culminating into a bigger event, making a larger piece of the puzzle. They all go together. It's just like, I don't know, peanut butter and jelly. So the card intensity, let's say two loves, for example. We have the Two of Cups, the lovers. I mean, in this particular place, we have a focus. The tarot is trying to tell us that we have a focus on love. We have a focus on connection. We have a focus on the emotional aspects of this particular read. So obviously, what does that mean? Well, it means you need to focus on that particular spot in the spread. What is happening there? They are reinforcing each other. They are holding each other up. You also see that with multiple court cards, for example. And of course, there are 1,000 different ones, and we'll go over many of these. But the King of Cups and the King of Wands, we have two kings. We have power. We have power not only with emotions, but with activity, with fire. So it's like this emotional fire type of thing. We have the king. Definitely have a power here. We have multiple court cards, the same one. We have a lot of attention being drawn to the power aspect, to the leadership aspect, to the sort of authoritarian aspect of this particular reading. So let's go over a little bit of what card intensity or card reinforcement does. The first thing it's going to do is steal the focus. I mean, if you see three majors and one minor at the very end, you're obviously going to be thinking, all right, the focus here is going to be the majors, right? So it steals the focus away from other cards. Now, other cards can do things like put a break in the intensity, or break it up a little bit, or ease it up. You also have heating up and cooling down. Well, the intensity grows and grows. And so you can feel in the reading that this situation is getting more intense by the day. This is something that's not going to cool down. This is something that's going to escalate, and it's going to be something that you need to deal with. You can't really ignore a growing intensity in a reading. You also, again, have the breaks in it. So you have a card in between the intensity, or a card in between these joining cards. It also sort of offsets opposites. So if we have an opposite, in other words, if you have a very emotional time, and then on the other end of the spectrum and the later in the read, you have a unemotional time, they're going to kind of offset each other. Right? Maybe you have two intensities that are offsetting each other. So over here, you could have pretty lazy. Over here, you could have pretty action-packed. So it kind of offsets each other. So basically. So here, for example, we have the Two of Cups, the lovers, obviously an emotional intensity, a love, a connection intensity that's involved within these two. And then you have like this just random Six of Pentacles. It's like the intensity is building towards a giving. So you have this love, and the love seems to be building towards a giving opportunity. And then we have sort of an Ace of Cups. So in between all of this love, these cups, these emotion, all of this water, we have just this random card, the Six of Pentacles. So again, we have a little break here. It breaks up this intensity in a little bit. So it's not like a constant flowing thing. So intensity cards will enhance each other or strengthen each other. Again, the Two of Cups and the lovers go together like peanut butter and jelly. They're going to enhance each other. It's going to be something where they're working together for a common goal. These are not in conflict. These are not trying to work against each other. That's not happening. The Two of Cups and the lovers are strengthening each other. And again, sort of stealing the focus. This steals the focus away from these other cards. So the Two of Cups and the lovers in this particular example. So let's go to the next one where we talk about the types of intensities. So you're like, what is this? Well, one would be movement. Many people moving around. It's important to notice this and also resolve this. Where are we moving to? Just seeing movement, a lot of movement is not enough. You need to figure out where you're moving to. What's the destination? Why are we moving? The cards are giving us a master of the obvious statement here by saying we have the Seven of Swords movement, we have the Fool, maybe the Chariot, the Eight of Cups, the Knight of Swords. We have a lot of movement going on. Where is this leading? Where is this leading? And that also brings about the follow-up question in your reading. Where is this leading? Where are you moving? What's happening? What's mobile in this situation? Why is this so mobile? Why is this so volatile? It's obviously we can't stand still. So let's say you have a court case reading. You definitely can't stand still and just sort of let it ride because you may get run over in this court case. If you're looking for a job, definitely can't stand still either. It doesn't really matter how many you put in a couple of resumes. Maybe you need to put in a couple of more. Standing still is not your friend. Here we have a lot of movement. The intensity is building. It's real. The tarot is really sort of giving us a very strong message here about movement. So just seeing this is not going to be sufficient. We need to take action on this. Where are we moving? What are we doing? And movement, obviously the two questions follow up is, why are we moving? Why can't we stay still? There's obviously some reason to get going. Most people don't just get up and just go. The other thing is, where are we going? What is the destination here? We have an intense movement. We have a focus on movement. That's fine. Where are we moving to? That's going to be your follow-up question. Where are you moving to? That's going to be your next big thing. Another type of intensity could be inexperience. We have a Page of Cups, a Page of Swords. We have the Fool. These are not experienced people. These are not experts in the field. If we're looking at going to somebody to gather advice, and we see this, maybe this is not the best person to gather advice from. It also goes on dates, right? We have a date with somebody. It's a Page of Cups, Page of Swords date. The two pages together reinforce each other. They're screaming out to the querent. Maybe this is not the best person that's the most experienced in dating. Maybe they're not the best with romance. Maybe they're not overall good with sort of where we're going. Maybe this is not the right date to go on. And if it is, you're going to have to pick up the slack here because we have a lot of inexperience here. These inexperienced intensity is really sort of glaring out and just pushing itself out here. So a lot of pages, maybe this is not the best authoritative person. If we're going to a doctor, how much experience does this person have? Kind of thing. We got a couple of pages where it's sort of inquiring about experience at this point. And again, it could be for dating. It could be for love. Maybe they're just not good at dating. Maybe they're not good at marriage. Maybe they're not good at love. We need to find out these things before putting in a lot of time. So the pages, definitely on an inexperience. Replace this with kings. We got a lot of experience. The intensity could be experience now. We have kings, know what they're doing. They know how to lead. They know what they know how to sort of get into the situation, get it done. This is going to be very important at a big work project, right? Or again, going out on dates. There's going to be somebody who knows how to treat people, who's good at this type of thing, especially if we go into a specialist or somebody for advice. Having a bunch of pages is just going to be a bit of an intensity that you don't want. Another one is types of intensity is emotional. Things are getting hot. Things are getting emotional. Things are getting watery. We have the Star, very emotional, very watery, sort of draining into the main pool, this mixing of two worlds, this movement, this guiding light for the Star. And then we have these emotional things. So the Two of Cups, a good emotional component where we're sort of together. And then we have the separation within the Eight of Cups. This is stealing the spread at this point. It's stealing the spread. Not a common thing though, right? There's some fluctuations coming that demand to be noticed. You see that. A lot of water headed in different directions, right? Determining the ultimate outcome will be beneficial. So we have a lot of water, we have a lot of emotions moving, and it doesn't seem to end well, but the intensity is stealing the spread. Does it really matter what cards are over here? Does it really matter what cards are on the left side? I maybe. But I mean, this is really stealing the spread. This is saying that I have an intensity, I have an intense moment, an intense focus, and you need to pay attention to me. So the pay attention is this little story here. We're guided into this thing this thing ultimately may be disappointing or may lead to something different, right? So again, the intensity is there, the emotional is there. It's time to let it guide us, let it figure out where we're going, and let it tell us the story. Because the story is about water, the story is about the flowing, the story is about the emotional component here. So again, it is all about the emotional component in this particular intensity example. Another one is inspirational, not necessarily angels. You can go there if you want. It's beings of another world. It's beings of another world, right? Because you'll notice that in the tarot, the later majors, you go from the earlier majors in tarot, you go with these common people, right? You got a fool, a court jester. You got a magician. You got the emperor. You got the leader, and things like that. So you got these real people that you'd meet on the street, right? You meet the manager, you're going to meet the magician, the street performer, you're going to meet the fool, sort of the jester, some entertainer. You're going to meet these people in real life, the high priestess, you're going to meet these people. But then you go to the later aspects of the majors. You're never going to meet these people. They're angels. They're outer beings. They're beings from another world. And you have that intensity here, right? You have beings from another world. You have beings that are not from here. These are not people that you meet on the street. These are higher powers. Something bigger than yourself is happening and needs immediate attention. This is not the normal day-to-day boring activities that you're accustomed to, right? Not only that, but these are not the people that you're going to meet normally. This is something bigger than you is happening in this spread, in this reading. There's something bigger going on. You need to focus on that. Let them know, hey, we need to pay attention to this. Something bigger than you is happening here. This may be out of your control. This may be a unique opportunity as well, because you may have a divine guidance coming in. You may have a bunch of divine things happening. So again, bigger than yourself. Let's pay attention to it. It is an intensity that we need to definitely focus on. Now, there are a bunch of others, etc., etc., etc. Maybe you have a comfort of intensity. In other words, you have a common theme of comfort, right? A Four of Wands. Ooh, that's nice and comfy. That is nice and comfy. You got a little King of Cups, all just sort of hanging out and chilling. You got a Ten of Pentacles. We're hanging out and chilling. I mean, we have a comfort food, comfort zone, Four of Wands. We have an intensity, but it's a good one. A nice, comfortable situation. At the end of the day, what is the resolution? It's a nice, comfortable situation. We have a nice, comforting zone. The Two of Wands, we're searching, we're seeking, we're looking, we're scanning. The Two of Wands, right? The Three of Wands, we're still scanning, we're still searching, we're looking around. Maybe the Seven of Swords, we're leaving, we're scanning, we're looking around. There's a lot of different cards that sort of come into this, right? But maybe we have a scanning, searching, seeking intensity where it's very, very focused on where we go next, what we do next. We need to get a plan, Maybe add in the Seven of Cups, the Lord of Illusionary Success. We need a plan. We got a lot of things to look at. We have a lot of opportunities. We need to narrow down kind of where we're at this point. The Hermit. The Hermit has a lot of different meanings. It has a meaning of being guided, has a meaning of sort of being isolated. Maybe we have a couple of these isolated feel cards, like maybe the Hermit, maybe the Seven of Pentacles, where he's sort of digging and he's by himself. Maybe the Eight of Pentacles, where he's working and he's by himself. Sort of this alone intensity, or going it alone. You'll have that intensity as well. So that could be one also. And then you have power. I mean, base, raw power, or fire. You have the Emperor, the fiery Emperor. Then you have it next to, let's say, the fiery Ten of Swords. Or sorry, the fiery Ten of Wands. Or, you have a fiery intensity. Or maybe a leadership intensity. We have that example coming soon here. The Emperor combined with a bunch of kings. So there's a power grab going on here that we need to see. We have this common theme, and we need to focus on that intensity. And then over here, the Three of Swords, we have sort of a disappointment intensity, right? The Three of Swords is there, maybe the Ten of Swords. We just have this disappointment. It feels like things just aren't going right. And we have the common theme. We got 4 cards. All of them is crap ain't going right. We got the Three of Swords. We got the Ten of Wands. We got the Tower. We got the Death. Things aren't going right. And it's screaming at us. It's yelling. It has a bullhorn. It's saying, it's not going okay. Stop. Stop. You know, some people be asking, be like, hey, I've been in this relationship and it's been on-off relationship for like 2,500 years. And I'm kind of wondering if I should stay in there, if I should ditch the person. You know, they make me depressed, and when we go out, I feel terrible. And then all of a sudden you have the Three of Swords, the Ten of Swords. They're screaming at you. Stop already. Stop. Use some sense here. Stop. Just stop. You'll have one of these. You're just miserable. Congratulations, you're miserable. Is this really what you want in your life? If so, knock yourself out. Okay. Then you have the Tower. You have change intensity. You have the Tower. Then you have Death. Then you have different options, maybe a Three of Wands right after the Tower and Death. There's new options. Everything's crumbling down. Everything's changing. It's a volatility that's going to be here, and you're going to have to deal with it. That's enough. There's so many of these, right? So many of these, so many focuses type thing. Now, like we said in the sort of the categorization of these, another one is ramping up, okay? Ramping up. We're starting out with the Ace of Swords, got a little bit of that new communication, new learning, new things sort of coming in, a lot of good quarter things. Then we have the Three of Swords. Maybe it wasn't all that good. Maybe things weren't that good. You know what I mean? Maybe that information wasn't that good. And oh crap, everything is crumbling down around us. It started off well. Then it kind of went a little poor. Now it's ramping up into the Tower. Now we're concerned. Now we're worried. Things are crumbling down. We don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. What are we going to do? It's ramping up. We started off softly, and then we ramped up the volume. So watch for this pattern. Watch for this pattern. You're building intensity. You started off with not much, and then it slowly and gradually built up. You need to deal with it somehow. It is literally ramping up. And then obviously you have part two, which could be a little cool down. You know what I mean? So we're picking up where we left off. We got the Tower. Things are crumbling down. Things are sort of resetting. The Five of Wands. We're dealing with all of this by fighting, conflict. It feels like we have to do something. We got to do it right now. Right now. It's very important, all this fighting. And, now it's kind of cooling down over here. We got the Seven of Wands. Now we're sort of defending ourselves, but we're not actively involved in trying to beat people up here with the Five of Wands. We're a little bit on the defense side and now sort of chilling out. Now we're sort of calmed down. We're back into the Four of Wands. Everything is a little bit better. Everything is chilled out, calmed down a little. So that's sort of the cool down phase that we have. So the intensity is calming down, building up. We want to watch for that. We want to watch for that because that's going to bring good news. So another thing is the breaks in the intensity. Kind of like a eye of the storm. In a hurricane, you have all this volatile, horrific storm with winds. And then all of a sudden you have the eye of the storm where it's nice and calm. And there's no big deal. And you'll have that right here, these breaks. So again, we're blinded in the Two of Swords. We're blinded in the Eight of Swords. We're not seeing things correctly. The Hanged Man. We're seeing it in a different perspective. The intensity here is we have no idea what the hell is going on. We're just completely blinded through this entire read. We just have this intensity of not knowing anything or knowing the wrong thing, or the Hanged Man not seeing things correctly. And the rats are chewing off the straps and he's about to fall. We have this blinded intensity. But all of a sudden, in the middle, we have a break. And the break is the sun. The sun is breaking that intensity. And it's important to see this. A lot of times we just don't see it. We missed it. We missed it. It's your unique, small, little opportunity. And maybe you missed it. Maybe it's coming soon. But this is good news also because you have a little break. In other words, now I can see a way out. So I'm lost in this maze and finally somebody hands me a GPS and they say, hey, here's how you get out of the maze. And that's great. That's great because that's where I need to be. That break in the intensity is going to be very important for this. So something to watch out for with the breaks. Always good to see that. And again, you have the eye of the hurricane right here. So the sun is going to be the break in that intensity where you can see everything's cool, everything's calm. I can finally see reality. And that's coming soon, or maybe it already happened. But that's going to be important because you do want to have a break in intensity, if at all possible. You don't want everything just to be this intense, horrific situation. The more breaks you have in it, the better. The break in it is going to be better. And then we have a lack of intensity, you know. The Four of Pentacles, we're just kind of sitting around. We got our stuff going. The Four of Cups, everything's all right. I mean, I'm not too excited and thrilled. The Seven of Pentacles, we're on break. We're looking at the groundhog down here, like in Caddyshack. But we're on break. This is not something huge and big and drama-filled. It's going to be okay. And then you have the Four of Swords, where we have just a rest. We're in the planning stage. We're resting. So this is a complete lack of intensity. Now, what does that matter? Well, that matters because that's going to be a nice, easygoing place for us. Not really good if we're maybe looking for a job where we want some intensity. We want the interviews. We want to have to study. We want the hard questions. We want to move forward with that, right? But right here, it may not happen. It may not happen. We could have some bad news, mixed news. It just looks a little too relaxed, which may be good. Maybe we just got out of a tower death moment. But this looks about, there's really not a lot of intensity. And I know I've been throwing you 3-card, 4-card readings. A lot of people say, do you do anything else? I mean, Celtic Cross. We got past, present, future challenge. I mean, over here, look at all this movement. We have the Knight of Swords movement. We have the Knight of Wands movement. A lot of movement. The movement from the Seven of Swords, a movement from the Six of Swords. We have a lot of movement over here. So if you look, you want the solution? Okay, move. You want the solution? Okay, here you go. Merry Christmas. Move. I mean, it's maybe the solution that you need. Probably not the solution that you want to hear. Move on. Move. Maybe I have a rough relationship. Maybe they treat me terrible. Maybe I've been trying to get out of this relationship for years. What should I do? Oh my God, Zors. Okay, move. I mean, here's your solution area over here. There you go. All right. So let's look at some examples. I mean, again, Page of Cups, Page of Swords. We got a date. Probably not going to be the best date. Probably somebody's inexperienced. Maybe they're going to talk way too much, talk way too little. Maybe they're not going to say anything about themselves. Maybe they're going to have all sorts of weird, inconsistent stories. I don't know. I really can't tell you this at this point. We just have this date, and it is a very inexperienced person. Not the best read for a date or for going to a lawyer or a doctor or anything like that. I mean, it doesn't look good. Not the best thing to see in that aspect. And then we have maybe too much on the opposing side, maybe too much of a domineering aspect here, right? The Emperor, the King of Swords. The King of Swords is a domineering type person. Emperor, I'm not going to rag on the Emperor. That's a good leader. He's got his dog there. That's a good leader. But combined, maybe a little much. That's a little intense. Thus, the intensity video. That is a little intense. That's a bit much. If this is a date, that's a bit much. Probably not going to be the best date. I don't know. Maybe somebody likes to be dominated. I don't know. But I'm just saying that looks pretty intense. And the last thing, I mean, we got, people get all excited. They're like, it's all majors. Yay, it's all majors. But it is all majors, but then over here we have the Lord of Illusionary Success. Everyone says it's all majors, therefore it's critical and it's important. Are you sure? Are you sure? You really sure? The Lord of Illusionary Success is kind of ruining your mood. It's kind of getting the mojo and kind of just kicking it off a little bit. Yeah, that Lord of Illusionary Success. Or maybe we don't want it that way. The Four of Cups. Maybe we don't want it that way. Maybe it's a lure. Maybe it is a carrot on a stick or a cup on a stick. It is all majors. Congratulations. There's your intensity. But does this offset it? Does it? Does it offset it a little too much? We got to sort of factor this stuff in. I mean, this is the Lord of Illusionary Success. Is it? Is it really all that important? Anyway, we have just sort of the intensity here. Oh, by the way, I'm releasing a book called Tarot Guidance. It's a 200 plus page book, a massive tome at 8.5 by 11. It's one of those thick coffee table books, full color, beautiful, a lot of pictures. I give you 3, 4, maybe 5 pages of examples of this lesson alone. I mean, if you want to learn stuff from these videos, if you like my videos, you're like, hey, that's not bad video. Pick up my book. It's on Kickstarter right now. If it's not on Kickstarter, well, you'll still find it on Kickstarter. Even years from now, I'll still be selling it. I'm going to buy a lot of copies. So you'll have it. 200 plus pages. It's thick. It's huge. I try to price it reasonable too. It's not too expensive. Anyway, go there. Check it out. Hopefully you like it. And if you like this video, you know what to do. I mean, you've been on YouTube. You know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.